Good afternoon, Professor. I'm Kangkang, a student from Hawk International Business School. I'm giving a presentation about SWOT and dice case study for Either Go game project. Here is an overview about the contents of the presentations. It contains four parts: introduction, SWOT analysis, dice analysis, and finally, recommendations. First, let's get to know about the company. Either Go is a game secured via smart contracts and powered by Ghost, which is its own tokens on blockchains. On April 13, 2018, an Ethereum game named Go was officially launched, and the Ethereum game fans all over the world rushed to enter and experience it in the first time, which caused a traffic jam in Ethereum at one time, and more than 40,000 transactions were completed in just the first day. And Ether Go is also an addictive crypto adult game, which has two tokens, Ghosts and Ethers. Let's talk about the key metrics of the game. The first game metrics of Ether Go is its production logistics. Players can have a variety of small animals to work for themselves, increasing the liabilities of Go productivity, which is the amount of Ghosts generated per second. Production animals have only one attribute, productivity, that can be aggregated by consuming Ghosts. For example, the cheapest animal is Interkitty. It only costs 20 Ghosts. Players will be able to purchasing one after waiting for the Ghosts produced for free just a while later. But the initial productivity of the Interkitties is only 0.2 Ghosts. Players need to upgrade the ability to produce. In contrast, the high-grade animal, Manharas, the initial productivity of which reached 50 Ghosts. That means the tokens produced by Manharas per second can buy at least two Interkitties. However, it takes players 0.05 ethers to have it. In brief, the production mechanism is that players can increase the total productivity by purchasing various levels of animals and upgrading their attributes. The output of Ghosts can be used to reinvest in purchasing and upgrading the production animals to further increasing the overall productivity. The second game metric is battle logistics. There are also various of battle animals which can be used in PvP game models. Battle animals have three attributes: attack power, defense power, and stealing ability. Animals have different ability preferences, and the corresponding upgraded attributes are slightly different. For example, Baggage Kitty has only one attribute, which is stealing ability of 100, and the player can only upgrade this attribute. However, there is another animal named Archer Kitty, which has an attack power of 200, a defense power of 10, as well as a stealing ability of 50. Obviously, it is better for a player to upgrade the attack power of Archer Kitty. In conclusion, the key metrics of the Either Go is to use production animals to produce Ghosts and to use battle animals to get Ghosts in PvP models. And then players can reinvest the tokens in increasing and upgrading the attributes of the animals. In this cycle, players can get more and more tokens and have fun. In the business model, it has a profitable matrix, that is dividend mechanism. There is a prize pool in Either Go. The amount of prize pool is composed of all the Ether's players' spending. Each day, the game will give 10% of the current prize pool as a dividend to all the players. The equation to calculate the dividend for each player is players' productivity divided by total productivity times total dividend of the day. And also, the game has a bonus system, which is that each player can get a 1% dividend by referring players. What's more, on the business side, the company will charge a fee of each transaction. The proportion is not very clear. Then it's the SWOT analysis part. The project has three strengths. First, the players do not have the need to have a large amount of users' input, although the gas fee required for the transaction is needs to be paid, but the threshold for new players is very low. Second, it has a strong interaction. The previous Ethereum games often lack interaction and competitions, and Ghost introduced the player confrontation mechanism, which can plunder the resources of the other players, making the game playability and user stickiness greatly improved. Thirdly, players can get fund feedback. The ether used by the players to upgrade the technology will be put into the prize pool. The prize pool will take out 10% of the amount every day and distribute it to all the players according to the production capacity. Then the weaknesses. First, regarding the performance limitations of Ethereum, it is mainly the gas transaction fee, which will block many users. There is also the upper limit of gas when generating smart contracts, because Ghost is a fairly complex contract that almost reached the upper limit. Second, the game mechanism is not transparent to the players. That means players could not verify the authenticity of the mechanism claimed by the game company, which made the players' rights and interests restricted. Finally, it's about the game asset. Most of the game's economic system is often single and closed, and game assets cannot be traded across games. For example, it is difficult for players to sell the Warcraft props in exchange for the King's skin. For those who invest more money, once they have abandoned the pit, there is almost no other way to recover the cost except for the large discounted selling account. As for the opportunities, the market of the game industry is growing very fast, and it is estimated to reach $130 billion in 2020. The blockchain game industry is at the startup stage, which is smaller than the traditional games industry, but it is growing fast. Finally, the business model of blockchain games is more complex, and game assets have a good store of value. Finally, the threat part. First, the head effect of resources will become more and more serious, and large users can easily kill small players. And the threshold for free entry of small players to enter the game is getting higher and higher. Secondly, there are more and more similar games. These games lack of creative ability and will have a bad influence on user goals. Thirdly, for the virtual property in the current game, the player only has the right to use it, not the ownership. The carrier of the game assets is the centralized server of the game company, and when the game company stops the server operation or sells the player game account number, the game assets of the player will disappear. The game assets are heavily dependent on the survival and the centralization of the game products. This is challenge for the game company to have more and more players. Players do not have enough confidence in the game. They don't trust the game company. Now we come to the dice analysis part. First, the company needs to decrease the growth rate of big players. As more and more players flock to either goal, early players will have an increasing advantage over later players, even if they pay the same amount of ether tokens. This is mainly because of the growth of Go productivity in the game is linear, and it does not get slower as productivity increases. Second, the company needs to reduce the irrationality of game design. The blockchain consensus mechanism and the smart contract release the distribution rights of the game currency from the game company and give the majority of players a regular market-oriented operation of the game economy. However, it is if the design of the consensus mechanism is unreasonable, the game company loses the original manual entirely of the to the game economy system, which may also cause another problem of economic imbalance. As for the increase part, first, the company needs to encourage originality and increase playability. In this way, the game can appeal more and more new players and increase the loyalty and skinniness of players. Second, the company needs to increase the balance of games. There is still a need for the mechanism to achieve a subtle balance between players to satisfy the PvP pressure between the big players and to keep the new players into a smooth progression. Finally, by transferring assets onto the blockchain, game assets will be able to trade more securely and conveniently. In the future, through cross-chain technology, players can trade game assets across games and platforms. As for the creative part, first, with the development of the blockchains, players will have a strong demand to have their own game props and assets. Through the traceable and non-tamperable nature of the blockchain, the fraud in the game is eliminated, and in this way, the security of the right of assets is created. Second, the company needs to add some usage scenarios outside the game. This would be a perfect viable solution, which can increase the player's demand for goals. So, producing goals has the potential to become a virtual POW money, like Bitcoin. Finally, the eliminate part. First, the company needs to eliminate the game data opacity. Using the blockchain trading book is open and non-tamperable. Blockchain games can open all data to the web, giving players easy access to information. For example, players can search the Etherscan website for a specific series of data on the total amount of Ethers, the total transactions from volumes, and all historic single transactions records and smart contract codes. Finally, the company needs to eliminate the disorder of game economic system. The game economy directly determines the playability of the game and the willingness of the player to play and the long-term stickiness. At present, many games will have problems with excessive access, production, and excessive gold coins in the late game. This kind of inflation will have a great negative impact on the game. Finally, recommendations. This is the blockchain decision path. It is obvious that the answers to all of these questions is yes. So, according to the blockchain decision path, we can decide the blockchain game project is a good investment. The game has a need for public transparency and also a need for a immutable log of transactions in case of fraud occurring. Blockchain is just the right tool to meet all these needs for the project. It is also why the game industry has experienced an explosive growth in the past few years. And obviously, it has a broad market prospect with high return and low risk. Thanks for watching.